But with this small movie, we don't necessarily want to introduce Namibia as your next holiday destination, but first of all want to describe the Imkerhof with its ministries and our work here. The Imkerhof is located in the heart of the country, about 200 kilometers northeast of Windhoek, at a small road junction somewhere in the middle of the Central Highlands bushland, or, politically speaking, in the district of Okahandja, belonging to the Otjozondoupa region. You reach this little farm after a 3-hour car ride from Windhoek, first driving over tarred streets and later only using gravel roads. Originally, the Imkerhof was farmland, but about 60 years ago the government opened a boarding school for the white farmers' children in the greater neighborhood. As with most of the other purely white schools, this school was also closed during the independence movement in the late 1980s, and the farmland, together with its building, was given to the Farmers' Association. But since the maintenance of this very small farm, with its only 30 hectares of land, soon became too expensive, the property was sold in the early 1990s to another farmer who opened a Christian school working with the ACE program, but again only for white children. This farmer soon abandoned this project because of his wife's death. The building stood empty for about 4 to 5 years, until in 1998 the Imkerhof was bought by 2 missionaries, Kathleen and Udo Wahl, who wanted their vision of a Bible school become true here on Imkerhof. Kathleen and Udo had already been sent out as missionaries to Namibia from the Rays of Joy mission in Pforzheim, Germany, in 1995, to start a Bible school for Christian leadership together with the Namibian Gospel Outreach Mission. In 1996, the Christian Leadership School CLS was opened in Windhoek and eventually relocated to the country after the purchase of Imkerhof Farm. Today, there are younger and older Christians of all different kinds of churches trained and equipped at the Imkerhof Training Center to eventually plant and lead churches and Bible schools themselves here in Namibia and also in other African countries. The Bible students attend an 18-month course including such subjects as practical theology, biblical studies, New Testament church, Christian lifestyle or advanced leadership. They start their days with devotions, then they attend the teachings on the various subjects in the mornings, while they work and help practically in the different areas in the afternoons. On the farm, in the Bible school itself, or the nearby children's home. The evenings are reserved for personal studies. One important point is the practical application of what the students have learned in class, for example in the active participation and leading of Sunday's church service and on outreach trips to different locations near and far. With graduation, the students are sent out as Spirit-filled and Bible-based leaders to further help in their home churches, to teach others, to found Bible schools, and to just serve God here in Africa and beyond. Some have also stayed on or returned to Imkerhof to help. Along with this Bible leadership school, there were soon other visions born and waiting to be realized. The most important one of them so far has been the opening of an orphanage close to the Bible school. Namibia belongs to those African countries which are most affected by the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Because of that, there are more and more children losing their parents and becoming orphans, sometimes being HIV positive themselves. Since the traditional extended families and communities are less and less able to care for these children need a new home. That's why Kathleen and Udo decided to open an orphanage in partnership with the organization Christ's Hope International, which already runs several orphanages called the Ark throughout Namibia. In 2002, they were able to buy a 2-hectare property with some buildings, which is only half a kilometer away from the Bible school. Originally, there was a garage on this property. Later, it housed a small shop and bottle store until the owners had to give up this store because of their age and sold the property to Imkerhof. After renovating and extending the buildings, we now have the Imkerhof's Children's Home, which can house up to 30 children and which right now is a home to 20 boys and girls aged 3 through 13 who are cared for by their Namibian house parents and also volunteers from all around the world, and who are raised in an environment based on biblical principles. While the orphanages and the workers' younger children attend the preschool, which is working with the ACE program and is located at the orphanage, the older children have up until now attended a public primary school about 20 kilometers away. Regarding this, the Imkerhof is again in an interesting transition period, because we will open our own primary school in the property, which will start with the new school year in mid-January 2007, and which will also work with the ACE, the Accelerated Christian Education Program. After school, the children do their homework. And in the afternoons, the volunteers offer different activities, and the children can play in the courtyard with its grass and sandy playground. Saturday is the day of sports, when the children and staff members passionately play tennis, soccer, or volleyball in the afternoons, while on Sundays, during the church service, there is a simple Sunday school for all children on Imkerhof and the surrounding farms. For the last several months, one highlight has been the pocket money, by which the children shall learn some responsibility for their home and their belongings, with which they can also buy sweets, and that is paid out before the holidays. Summarizing, today's Imkerhof consists of a Bible school with now about 30 students from different African nations such as Namibia, Angola or Congo, and which has 4 staff members. A small farm with 2 workers where they have been growing lucerne for the last couple of years. A children's home with 5 staff members and a new primary school with 3 teachers. There are also volunteers helping to the best of their abilities in the different areas. But there are other and more visions waiting to be realized. For example, there are the beginnings to eventually start a vocational training center and the setup of a wastewater treatment plant. Furthermore, there are ideas for an HIV program, a hospital, a hospice for AIDS victims, and also such fun things as soccer and sports fields and centers for leisure activities. So, in the future, it will still be exciting to experience what other things God wants to make come true here on Imkerhof.